Here's 5 areas around the box that you can use your laces if you want to give the keeper absolutely no chance when that opportunity falls to you. Okay, so first one, nice and simple, we're sort of at the edge of the box. So whenever you're receiving it in these little pockets and you get a bit of space to open up in front of you and the defenders are backing off, so many players sort of look up and they take the space up, and once you've taken that space up, obviously you can't use it. So if you see that opportunity as a midfielder, as a 10, any position, and you can just stop, get that ball rolling out your feet and then just hit it, okay? You don't need to be thinking about being too accurate here, but what you do need to think about on the technique is we want more of a vertical foot in this situation. So when we're central, we don't want to sort of be coming across the ball and getting that horizontal drive technique, because it's going to be too easy for the keeper to move from this distance. We almost want to hit straight through the middle of the ball, so if it does drift, the keeper's almost planted. So again, if you watch the technique, we're keeping the foot vertical, get that ball rolling forward, and we're striking through it to get that real accurate strike. Okay, so when we're striking it from a central area, what we want to think about is not trying to be too accurate with it, just aiming at the goal. I always think if you try and be too accurate, if you think too much about this, the chance is going to be gone before you even get your shot off. So if you pick it up in these areas and you see that little bit of space in front of you, what I like to think about is trying to get a bit of momentum on the ball so you don't have to hit it as hard. Once that ball's rolling away from you, we're trying to get the foot vertical. Okay, so there's loads of different options we'll talk about, but we don't want to try and cut across it here because it's going to give the keeper too much time to sort of travel and save it. If you keep that foot vertical and you hit it well, it's got a great chance of drifting, and that's where the keeper sort of stays planted and you can beat him. Just roll out your feet, vertical foot position. We almost want it just on the inside of the boot, on the holes of the laces almost as you strike it. And I always like to think about that tunnel analogy. Like you're driving it, if you focus on the first connection for almost like a tube or a tunnel, the ball's going to do the work. And in that crucial moment in a game where that opportunity opens up and people get excited, that's where they forget that sort of first connection. You're just going to roll it out your feet, you're just going to think about that tunnel and just hit. And as you can see, I'm just aiming at the middle. I don't catch it absolutely perfect, but that's a difficult one for the keeper to save. It's drifting away from him. You take that from here to test the keeper, could easily go in. So again, when you're practicing, you're just focusing on that little roll away from you. Again, I think get the body set, get it locked in, as if someone knocks you, they couldn't move you. So you're really good center of gravity and you're hammering that ball through that tunnel. So we're moving it, we're locked in, hammering it through that tunnel. Again, it drifts away, you get a great strike on. Hope you're enjoying the video. Just want to take a quick second to say we've got a completely free goal scoring community. If you hit the link in the description, we've got 100 spots available in this community. So if you're dedicated, you want to take your game to the next level, you want even more details on how you can individually take that game to the next level, click the link in the description and we'll see you on the inside. Okay, so still a central area, but when you're at, say again, like a 10, an 8, and you're receiving it in these little pockets here from wide, now this technique's slightly different. So you're not in that middle where you're just hitting the target and lacing it, you're moving a bit. So your momentum as you receive it from in here is obviously traveling inside as you shift it. So all I want you to think about is you're gonna receive it. Now this touch is important. You wanna touch it slightly forward, okay? If you touch it this way, if you keep it moving inside, it's very difficult to get round and lace it, and almost your only option is a whip from very far out, which isn't going to be as deadly as a good, clean strike. So that's the first thing we're thinking about. We're thinking touch, I see the space, I'm shifting it forwards. Now in this situation, you're going to just see bodies in front of you probably. Now you just need to understand the way they're moving. If you're receiving it from here, they're also moving this way to sort of block players and stop the shot. So the defender's momentum, as you come in a lot of the time, is almost here, ready to stop that one, or the cross or the pass, ready to intercept. And as you see, they sort of get in this position here. So if you line up to strike, they're almost here and they're gonna sort of try and block and protect here, which opens up a channel in there. Now you might not be able to see that in the moment, but if you know your situations and if you watch clips, you'll be able to see that this is an option. Again, talking about your momentum, if your momentum's coming inside and you strike it, you're gonna get a little bit of left to right and the same on the other side, and it's gonna completely catch the keeper out, because again, he's watching the ball, and if you hit that one, is completely gone. Okay, so just a little change in the technique. So instead of it being, like we said, centrally fully vertical, this one you're sort of coming across it a little bit more. So the foot's slightly more horizontal, not completely up and down. And we want to catch it with almost this part here. And it's the follow through that's going to make the difference. So you're going to come across your body slightly more. Where with the laces one in the middle, we're sort of just straight hitting it through that tunnel. This time, the foot's almost going to come across a bit to give us that little natural arc. So as you're receiving it in here, it's going to go one, forward, and then you're trying to hit that front post strike. What we want is a real clean, driven strike to catch the keeper out on this one. So key takeaway with this one is understanding the position you're receiving it from, understanding your momentum as you drift inside the pitch, the defender's momentum and the keeper's momentum, and trusting yourself to drive it almost at that defender. And if you miss him out, you're going to miss the keeper out and you've got a great chance. But it does take reps and it does take technique to get that driven with a little bit of drift. But trust yourself and give it a go. If you put the reps in, you'll trust yourself on a game day. Okay, so now we're thinking about the laces strike from a bit of a wider angle. It's a more of a horizontal technique. So if you're receiving it here as a right foot or a left foot of that side, and you try and lace it like this, it's going to drift away because of the momentum of the ball. So now we've got to think about cutting across it. So now instead of the foot being straight like we did in the middle or slightly horizontal, we're really going to get the foot opened up and the knee over the ball here. We're almost creating a barrier, so that ball's got to travel in here. If it's open, it's got all that space to manipulate and move from, and we want to lock it in, and we can lock it in by the angle of our foot and our knee. Now if I get that right and I get the first connection right, it's gonna travel through that little space we've created and give me a great chance of putting it in the right area. If I get that wrong and I'm sort of too open or I'm too off balance, as you can see now, we haven't created that space or that sort of barrier for the ball to travel through. So we really want to get low and create that. So as you get it now, it's a touch. Now what I like to think about is if you can get that push forwards, then you can create the angle with your body. So you're almost going to come around that ball, and now I'm almost in line with the post and I'm trying to bang, create an angle. So I'm going to receive it here, bam, I'm going to shift it straight, I'm going to create that angle, lock it off and try and drive it in that corner. And as you can see, if you get this right from this angle with the direction and the power, it's going to beat the keeper before he's even been able to move. If you focus on the direction, the power will come. I need to tell myself that sometimes. As you can see, once you focus on the technique, you hit it right, it'll go past the keeper anyway. So don't get excited and try and take the net off. Focus on the technique and the rest will do the work. Okay, so now as you step into the box, so we've got our technique out of the box. As you step into the box, slightly different. So you're going to probably be under quite a high amount of pressure here. So it's going to be difficult to set yourself like the one from deeper and drive it. It's going to be more reactive. So as you're running, you're going to have to find a way to get that laces through the ball and drive it into that corner. Lots of people get in here and they whip it. When you're whipping it, it's going to sort of go in towards the keeper, and of course you can score, but if you can get good at hitting it early, again, you're going to beat the keeper without him being able to move. So here what we're thinking, because you're moving quickly, naturally so many people will strike it and drag it, because as they're moving quickly, they can't decelerate very well, so they're at full speed, and as they lift that foot, their balance goes slightly, and then that's always dragging. But if you know that that's probably going to happen slightly, you've just got to be ready for it, and you've got to be ready to adjust for it. So as you're driving, know that it's going to drag slightly, and I always think if you aim at the middle of the goal with power, it's just going to drift away. We're back to almost like that straight technique now, like we did in the middle. So if it's just that straight technique, bang, straight at the middle of the goal, because the speed our body's moving at, because the angle we're at and we're coming across our body, it's going to drift naturally and have that real nice gliding strike across goal. So as you can see, it looks like I've just got my head up and smashed it in the bottom corner, but really I'm just focused on middle of the goal, knowing there's going to be a bit of drift. Look, if you smash it at the keeper with a good power and it doesn't quite drift, it's still going to be tough for him to save it. There's nothing worse, as you know, than getting this area and sort of scuffing it across goal and it almost trickling wide. You'd rather hit it with power, hit the target, and if you have that in your mind, you've got way more opportunity of scoring. Okay, so the last area with your laces that you want to focus on is this one here, where you're not sort of inside, you're not on the outside, you're sort of in that awkward middle area, and the space opens up for you. But as you're driving in these areas, a lot of the time, you haven't got much of an angle. So you sort of, there's players here, there's players there, so you need to create the angle with the body. And a lot of players will get in here, they'll check back because they can't, they don't feel like they've got the opportunity to strike it. So if you can't find the angle with the ball and it's on a straight line and people are coming inside, what we've got to do is find that angle with the body. All we're thinking about, same technique as the front post, we're going to move the body, almost drop this shoulder, create that angle here now to be able to hit it in the far post. And then we've got, again, a slightly more horizontal foot, so we're not completely central, slightly more horizontal, and we're getting that cut across to drift it in the far post. So straight, we're trying to get slightly horizontal and get that drive across. The reason I like this one is you need a bit of height here because there's probably players coming out to press you. So if you drive it like there, you get a bit of height, so you've got a good chance. The more you cut across it, the more you're going to get that drift away from the keeper, which is what we want. I think on this one as well, it's important to say, you do have to really commit to it. You have to commit to almost setting that ball off at the middle of the goal and do it with some confidence. So you get that driven shot across goal. Okay, so 5 areas there that you can focus on to drive those shots from outside the area with your laces. A lot of technique goes into getting good at those, because if you imagine in a game, you've got pressure on you. Pressure from the crowd, from players, from opposition coming to get you, from teammates screaming that they want the ball. So practice on that is important because you've got to be able to zone in. In that crucial moment where the space opens up, it's not only about your technique, but it's about your bravery to go for it. That comes through practice. Once you've hit a few of these in the week and you know, oh, I feel confident to hit them, you're going to do it in a game. If you go into that game not feeling too confident in your technique, that's when you're going to shy away from it, pass it to someone else. So get the reps in, get practicing, and start scoring some worldies at the weekend.